Adventure Bay, the friendliest town on Earth. The air was calm and the sun shined brightly. Every town has a hero, but in Adventure Bay, these heroes were pups. 6 heroic pups. This team was called the Paw Patrol. Their names were Marshall, Chase, Rocky, Zuma, Rubble, and Sky, and their owner, a 10-year-old boy named Ryder. These pups were the nicest pups in the entire world. They would always help a friend in need and would never let anyone down, never to make a smile disappear from anyone's face. Everything was just perfect. That is, until one day. The pups were playing soccer outside the lookout. "Pass it to me," said Rubble, calling Chase, who had the ball. "Okay," said Chase, passing the ball to the English bulldog. "Over here, I'm open," said Marshall, calling Rubble. Rubble kicks the ball to Marshall, and the Dalmatian ran to kick the ball, but ending up tripping over the ball and tumbling on Chase. "Sorry, Chase," Marshall said, looking down at the German Shepherd, who had a slightly annoyed face. The pups laughed, and they continued to play their game. Zuma had the ball. "This is my Zuma Wiffic Deluxe Kick," said the chocolate lab, running towards the ball. He kicked the ball, and it went past Rocky, who was the goalie. "Goal!" said Zuma, doing a victory dance. "Hey, no fair! I wasn't ready," said Rocky, upset. "Rocky, it's just a game. You don't have to be mad about it. Come on, let's keep playing," said Zuma. "Okay," said Rocky, passing the ball back to the pups. The pups continued to play. Then Zuma got the ball and used a special kick to kick the ball. And again, the ball went in the net. Now Rocky was angry. "Zuma, stop cheating!" Rocky said, raising his voice at the chocolate Labrador. "I'm not cheating," Zuma said, annoyed. "This is the way soccer is played." "Well, that doesn't mean you have to kick it so hard," said Rocky, glaring at Zuma. "If you're going to be a big baby over it, then just go," said Zuma angrily. This made Rocky even more furious. "What did you just call me?" he said, stomping towards Zuma. "I called you a baby, that's what!" Zuma growled. "You son of a bitch!" Rocky said, his eyes filled with utter rage. The pups gasped as they had just heard what Rocky had said. Zuma blinked a few times before saying, "Dude, just go," he said, pointing his paw towards the lookout. "Fine," said Rocky, storming off. "But let me just say one more thing. Our friendship is over." "Sounds good to me," said Zuma. Rocky then stormed off, muttering angrily to himself. "Zuma, are you okay?" asked Sky. "Oh, I'm just great," Zuma said sarcastically. "Don't you think you two were a little bit hard on each other?" asked Chase, raising an eyebrow. Zuma gave a small grunt. "Well, he started it. If he didn't have to complain over a game, everything would be fine." "I'm gonna go talk to Rocky," said Marshall, running to Rocky's pup house. When he got to the pup house, Rocky was laying in it, face buried in his front legs. "Rocky?" said Marshall in a small and quiet voice. Rocky looked up, his eyes bloodshot with tears. "What do you want?" he said. "I just wanted to talk to you about Zuma," said the Dalmatian. Rocky got up and got in Marshall's face, the mixed breed's eyes glowing with anger. "Whatever it is, I don't want to hear it. Now leave me alone." "But I said leave me the fuck alone!" Rocky screamed, growling while showing his teeth, cutting the Dalmatian off of his words. Marshall gave a defeated sigh. "Okay," he said sadly, and he walked off with his head lowered. Rocky just sat there, thinking of what he said to Zuma and Marshall. But he couldn't think clearly because his anger had taken over his mind. It would be better if Zuma were never in the Paw Patrol, Rocky thought to himself. Maybe a nice walk will calm me down. Rocky got up and started walking down the street. When he got down the street, he heard a voice whispering, "Psst! Hey, dog!" Huh? Who said that? Rocky said, looking around. "Over here," the voice said. Rocky turned to a tree and saw a man peeking his head out from behind it. The man had a long black suit and a top hat and black pants and dress shoes. "Who are you?" asked Rocky. "I am Pierre," the man said with a French accent. "I've heard you had a hard time with your friend." "Wait, how did you know about that?" asked Rocky, with an emotion mixed with fear and confusion. "Oh, I always knew," said Pierre. "I'm everywhere, and I know what will make you feel better." He pulled out a watch and started waving it in front of the mixed breed's face. "You are getting sleepy, mon ami," which means my friend in French. "When I snap my finger, you will fall asleep and dream of every great moment you had with your best friend." Pierre snapped his finger, and Rocky fell asleep. "Nighty-night," Pierre said. Then he started giggling evilly. Rocky woke up, but he was in a different area. It was the forest, and it was night, about 10 o'clock. "Huh? Where am I?" said Rocky, getting up, yawning, and stretching his legs. "That's weird," he said to himself. "I don't remember falling asleep here." He started walking, calling for anyone who might help him. "Hello? Is anyone out here?" There was no answer. The only thing Rocky could hear was his voice echoing from around him. "Ryder? Pups? Anybody?" Still no answer. Rocky was starting to get scared, but then he got an idea. "Maybe if I keep walking, I will find my way home," he thought to himself. With that, Rocky started walking, trying to find a way out of the forest. After about what felt like an hour, Rocky's paws were hurting. "Maybe I should take a rest," he thought to himself. But before he could sit down and rest his paws, he saw the town of Adventure Bay. Rocky gasped in joy. "Yes! I found home! I better go apologize to Zuma." Rocky was annoyed that he had to walk again, but he was so happy to see his beloved home. When he got to the town, he noticed something strange. The town looked a little odd. Cars were toppled over with broken windows and mirrors. The buildings were crumbled, and there were messages on the windows that said, "Help us. There was no escape, and run while you can." The weird part is that the town was completely deserted. No body or no pup in sight. "Where the heck is everyone?" Rocky said to himself out loud. But then, something caught the corner of Rocky's eye. It was a strange glow, a bright light that anybody could see from almost a mile away. Rocky turned to the light, and then he felt his heart drop. Right in front of him in the distance was the lookout, being consumed by flames. Rocky stared in horror as the lookout was being devoured by hundreds of flames. "This can't be happening! It can't be!" said Rocky, stuttering with complete shock. "It's just a nightmare, Rocky. It's just a nightmare. Everything will be..." He stopped when he heard the crumbling pieces of the lookout falling to the ground. The fire cracking so loud you could hear it from miles away. "Oh my gosh! I need to save Ryder and the pups!" Rocky said to himself. Then he darted like he had never ran before. He didn't care how bad his paws were hurting. The only thing he knew was important was his friends. When he got to the lookout, he could feel the fire warming his fur as if he were in an oven. "Guys, it's me, Rocky! I've come to save you!" No answer. Rocky started to panic. "Please, someone, anybody, answer! Please don't be dead," he said, trying to hold back tears. But suddenly, Rocky knew what to do. "I'll put out the fire, then I'll see if anybody's in the lookout and see if they're okay." The thought of him using water made the mixed breed shake with disgust. But he had no choice. He had to save his friends. He ran over to Marshall's pup house, or at least what was left of it, and he got Marshall's firefighting gear. "Please don't get me wet," he thought to himself. "Woof woof! Water cannon!" The pup pack instantly changed into a water cannon. "Water cannon spray!" shouted Rocky. Then the cannon started spraying water at the burning lookout. Rocky struggled hard, but the fire was too high and strong. "Damn it!" he said to himself in frustration. Then he got another idea. He went to Marshall's pup house that was halfway burned down, but still in use. Rocky grabbed the hose and turned it on, and water came spraying out. The force of the water nearly made Rocky fall to the ground, but luckily the water had enough strength to put out the fire. Rocky rubbed sweat off of his forehead. "Phew, glad that's over. Now I need to find my friends." As soon as Rocky got near the entrance to the lookout, he saw what damage the fire had done. What used to be a tall building was now just a halfway burnt piece of charcoal. Rocky stepped inside the lookout with no need of using the convertible door because the building was a crisp. "Guys, where are you? It's me, Rocky. Are you all right?" No answer. "Oh no! Where are they?" Rocky was starting to panic, tears filling his eyes. "Please, someone answer," he said through the tears that were dripping down his face. Then, Rocky heard a faint cough, a cough that sounded inches away from him. Hello?" stammered Rocky. He couldn't see anyone through the pitch blackness of what used to be the lookout. Rocky wanted to find out who was still in the lookout, anyone who needed his help. He looked around for anything that could still help him see who was still in there. Luckily, he found a flashlight laying on the floor. "Arf, Claw!" Rocky said with a worried and fast-paced tone. He turned on the flashlight and shone it around the dark room. Then he saw an outline of something in the corner. "Hello? Ryder? Is that you?" He took a few steps to see what the figure was, and when he got close, he felt like he was going to vomit. Right in front of him was the lifeless body of Ryder, his arm broken, and both of his eyes were gone, and bloodstains all over his face and clothes. That wasn't the only gut-wrenching thing. Laying beside Ryder were the severed heads of the pups, excluding Zuma. No! This can't be happening! It can't be! Rocky exclaimed in a shaky and shrill voice. Rocky broke down crying, tears streaming down his face. Rocky was crying a river, utterly in shock and heartbreak seeing his friends dead. Rocky then looked up, his face stained with tears. He noticed blood on the wall above his deceased friends. It was a message. Rocky rubbed his eyes and squinted at the message. His jaw dropped at the message, which read, "Death is upon us." Rocky felt so scared. He wanted to hide in a safe place, away from this nightmare, away from this hellhole. Then, Rocky heard a small, faint groan of what sounded like a little boy. He shined the flashlight in the direction of where the groan came from, and what caught Rocky's eyes made his fur stand on end. He saw the half-alive body of a chocolate Labrador laying badly bruised and bleeding. Zuma? The dark outline of Zuma motionless on the ground sent chills down Rocky's spine. He didn't know what to do. He was shaking too much from fear, from seeing his best friend badly beaten to a pulp. Rocky ran over to the half-breathing Labrador. "Zuma, it's me, Rocky," he said, shaking Zuma. "Rocky?" he said, his voice quiet and froggy. "Oh, thank goodness," Rocky said with a smile of relief. "What happened?" he asked. Monster. He looked like a man, but he wasn't." Rocky's eyes widened with shock. "What?" "Well, what about that message on the wall?" he asked. Zuma grimaced as he tried to move, his whole body filled with pain. He used Whita's blood. That's the only thing I remember before I blacked out. He killed them all. All of them." Zuma's low and groggy voice was now trembling. Tears fell down the chocolate lab's face as he looked up at a worried and heartbroken Rocky. "Don't worry, Zuma. I'm gonna help." "Rocky, look out!" interrupted Zuma. "Huh?" Before Rocky could turn around, he felt a strong force at the back of his head, knocking him completely unconscious. Rocky woke up. "Huh? Where am I?" He tried to move, but noticed he was chained against a wall, but not just any wall. It was the wall of what seemed to be a dungeon. "What? Where am I? Let me go!" He panicked, squirming hard, trying to get out of the chains. "Oh, my dear Rocky, no need to panic," a voice said, softly and calm. Who's there? Show yourself!" He saw a silhouette of a man. But when the man walked into view, Rocky's eyes widened in utter shock when he saw the familiar face of the man smirking maliciously at him. Rocky yelled, stammering. "No!" Rocky sputtered. "It can't be you. It can't be. Pierre?" "That's right, Rocky. Didn't expect it to be me, huh?" he said, still grinning. "Why am I chained? What are you doing to me?" Rocky asked, panicking. Pierre laughed. "Well, let's just say you're in for a treat." Rocky's eyes went wide. What does that mean?" he asked. Pierre didn't answer. Instead, he walked over to a dark corner of the dungeon. "Don't worry. I brought a visitor along." "Light, s'il vous plaît," Pierre said in French, and with the clap of his hands, torches suddenly lit up. Then, Rocky felt like his heart was about to jump out of his mouth. Zuma! No! Rocky stammered. Right across from him was Zuma, laying unconscious on a torture table, chained up. I brought him here for you to say your final goodbyes to each other. Starting with him. Don't you dare touch him! Rocky yelled angrily through gritted teeth. I swear, if you lay one finger on him, I'll kill you! I'll kill you! Pierre let out another nasty laugh. Wow, that was a good one, Rocky. Really? But let me ask you one question. Suddenly, Pierre's voice became demonic.
Can you kill this?
Suddenly, Pierre's eyes turned into a glowing red. His teeth became sharp fangs. His fingers became sharp claws, as sharp as 5 knives. Then he started to grow, taller and taller, until he was about 8 feet tall.
Now,
He said with his demonic voice.
It's time for my snack.
Rocky felt his blood run cold. He had never been so terrified in his life. Pierre began to walk to Zuma and grabbed the chain and pulled it off with a swift motion. Zuma, regaining consciousness, stared in complete fear at Pierre's horrific face. No! Not you again! I thought I managed to escape you! Before you tried to eat me! Zuma's fear was now mixed with anger. My friends tried to stop you, but you killed them. I managed to hide from you. Even through all the pain, I still managed to escape you. I will never forgive you for what you've done. Pierre let out an evil and demonic laugh, if it could kill anyone that heard it.
Oh, strong words from a whippy pup. But you are the most annoying thing on this entire shitty place you call home.
Go to hell! Zuma growled. Pierre laughed that nasty laugh once again.
Me? Go to hell? That's a good one, Zuma. But where do you think I'm from?
Pierre asked with a scoff.
Now.
Pierre started.
Time for my dinner.
He started to raise Zuma to his mouth, showing his sharp and yellow teeth. But stopped when Zuma was 3 inches away from his mouth and said,
You remind me of chocolate. I love chocolate!
But it was too late. He rose Zuma towards his mouth. No! Stop! Yelled Rocky. But it was too late. Pierre already took a chomp out of Zuma's back legs. Zuma let out a blood-curdling cry of pain and agony as blood squirted from where his legs used to be, showing ripped skin tissue and bone. Pierre, stop! Rocky's fear was now turning into anger. Pierre was still chewing. Then he swallowed and spoke.
Tastes nice, but it could use a little sauce on the side.
Pierre then took another bite out of Zuma, this time from his stomach. Zuma's blood-curdling yelp sent tears streaming down Rocky's face. Tears of horror and anger. Tears were falling from Zuma's face as well, as he was losing blood at a rapid pace. Stop! Please! Zuma managed to yell. Pierre stared down at Zuma with a scowl.
If you don't shut your little fucking mouth, I'll make your death even more painful. Do you understand?
He said with pure fury. You've already gave me enough pain, Zuma said through gritted teeth, but with a weak and dying voice.
All right. I warned you,
Pierre said. Then he grabbed Zuma by the head with his claws, digging into the Labrador's skin. Zuma screamed louder than ever, a scream that made Rocky's anger rise. "Pierre, stop it now!" Rocky yelled.
"Shut the hell up, you silver little twat!"
Pierre said angrily. Then, with one strong pull, Pierre ripped Zuma's head right off of his shoulder, making a loud, ripping sound that sounded like paper being torn apart. "No! Zuma!" Rocky yelled with complete and utter shock.
"That's what happens when you don't shut the fuck up,"
Pierre said. Then, he chomped down on Zuma's severed head and threw the Labrador's lifeless body down to the ground. Rocky's eyes followed the headless body of Zuma falling to the ground. The body fell on the stone ground with a loud thud. As Rocky stared down at the body, he had a vision of his parents and brother being shot and killed. As a young and defenseless Rocky stared with terror, tears falling down his eyes as he hid in the tight space, hiding from the heartless, disgusting men who murdered his family. The vision ended, and Rocky felt a feeling that he felt towards Zuma earlier. Rage. A rage Rocky had never felt before in his life. "You're gonna pay for that!" Rocky screamed at the top of his lungs. He had never felt so angry in his life. He squirmed, trying to break free from the chains. After a few good tugs, he finally broke the chain and landed on his paws and stared up at Pierre, breathing and growling at the same time. "You ruthless, heartless bastard!" Rocky was seeing complete red. His eyes looked like they had changed from being brown to ruby red. Pierre laughed.
"You're so pathetic. Even when you're mad, you're still weak."
This made Rocky's rage rise. "Shut up! You killed my friend! Now it's time for you to die!" Pierre laughed again, but his laugh faded as he saw a green aura begin to appear around Rocky. The mixed breed's eyes now had no pupils. "I warned you!" Rocky snarled. "If you happen to lay a finger on Zuma, I would kill you! Now get ready, Pierre! Your death is going to be quick and painful!"
"You think that a weak pup like you can kill me?"
Pierre scoffed.
"Don't make me laugh. I've had enough of your pathetic jokes for one day."
"And I've had enough of putting up to your evil crap for one day!" Rocky screamed. Pierre then spoke.
"If it's a fight you want, then it's a fight you'll get."
He grabbed Rocky tightly with both hands and began to squeeze him, but Rocky bit Pierre's arm, causing the monster to drop Rocky and let out a cry of agony.
"Ah, you bastard!"
Pierre was now angry, but Rocky was angrier. Pierre grabbed at Rocky again, but Rocky was quicker. He bit Pierre's leg, causing it to ooze out glowing red blood.
"Ah!"
Pierre grabbed his leg as Rocky ran towards Pierre, pushing the 8-foot-tall monster back with great force, causing him to stumble back and fall down a ravine with lava at the bottom. But as Pierre began to fall, he grabbed the floor with both of his hands, dangling from the ground, trying not to fall. Rocky walked over to where Pierre was, and with a great force, he stomped his paw down on Pierre's hand. Rocky grinned as he heard Pierre's bones crack.
"Ah!"
Pierre yelled with agony. Pierre started to speak.
"Wait, Rocky! Please don't hurt me! I'm sorry! I won't hurt you anymore!"
Rocky could see the fear in Pierre's eyes. It was rare for a monster to be scared, but for Pierre, it was different. Rocky lowered his head down to Pierre and growled in his face. "Sorry, Pierre, but it's too late now. You already killed my friends. They were my family. I loved them with all my heart. Rocky raised his other paw and his voice. I will never forgive you! Then, Rocky's paw slammed into Pierre's skull, causing Pierre to fall into the deep, bottomless pit of lava. As Pierre was burning, he said his last words.
Death is upon you!
And with that, Pierre sank down into the lava, leaving nothing but bones floating above the surface. Rocky stared down at the orange glowing substance at the bottom of the deep pit. Then, he felt his anger start to fade. It's finally over, he thought. Then he looked over at what was left of Zuma. He began to sob. Zuma, I'm so sorry, he said through his tears. Then he heard voices calling out to him. They were saying things like, Rocky, wake up! And, Rocky, are you okay? Just then, Rocky woke up. He found himself in the lookout with all the pups and riders standing around him. Huh? Rocky yawned. Where am I? You're at home, silly, Sky said, laughing. Wait, I'm home? Rocky looked around and let out a happy cry. I am home! Oh, I missed you guys so much! The pups and Ryder gave Rocky a confused look. Huh? Ryder said. Rocky, it's not like we were gone forever. Oh, sorry, Ryder. I just had a strange dream, Rocky said. Wait, where's Pierre? Pierre? Who's Pierre? Chase asked. I'll explain later, Rocky said. Don't worry about it. He then looked over to Zuma. Zuma, I'm so sorry I got mad at you while playing soccer. You were right. It's just a game, and it's just for fun. Zuma laughed. That's okay, Rocky. I'm sorry too. For what? Rocky asked. Getting mad at you for getting mad. Everyone laughed. I'm going to play some soccer. Waste ya, Zuma said, running. Oh, you're on, Rocky said with confidence. Then all the pups had a fun game of soccer. Zuma used his Zuma-Whiffit kick and scored. But this time, Rocky didn't get angry. Nice shot, Rocky said. Thanks, Zuma said. And with that, they had a great day of soccer, not knowing a certain man was watching from behind a tree. You may have outsmarted me, Rocky, but next time, I'll make sure that death is upon you and your friends. And with that, he let out a quiet and evil laugh.